Hi there, so today's video is on how to get out of a reading slump, and it's very fitting because I just got out of a reading slump. And so basically, if you don't know, a reading slump is when you want to read, but you just can't. Either, you don't have the time or nothing's interesting to you. So I have 3 reasons for reading slumps based on my personal experience and also some other videos that I've seen on YouTube and in different blogs. So the first reason is you're reading something that you have no interest in, or it's just plain bad. So a lot of times if you're reading something you're not really excited about, or it's just really boring, you don't want to continue to read it. And I find that in this situation, it's best to just stop reading it. I feel like a lot of people think that once you start a book, you have to finish it. Like you just have to get through it. You just have to push through, especially if you've paid for that book. But if it's gonna sort of put you in a bad mood and kind of ruin your reading taste for a while, it's not worth it, and you can always come back to it later. So the second reason is nothing on your TBR or anything sort of that's recently come out is interesting to you. So I feel like this one maybe not as common because there are always tons of books that are coming out and that are really interesting and have a wide variety of topics. But sometimes you're just reading a bunch of summaries, or you have bought a bunch of books and none of them are really appealing to you at that moment. So in this situation, I would suggest kind of rereading an old favorite, or a book that really was exciting to you in the past, and then it'll kind of get you back in the habit of reading. And hopefully once you've done that, you're sort of back in good spirits and you have positive views on reading. And then the third reason is you don't have the time, or you're just too busy. And this is the hardest one to get over because it's out of your control most of the time, because whether you're busy with school or with work, it's not really something that you can't get out of having to go to school or having to go to work. It's something that you have to do. But a way that you can kind of go around this is whenever you have free time, you can kind of read shorter books, or when you're going to and from school or work, you can listen to audiobooks. And so that way you're still reading and you're still getting in the habit of reading, but it's not taking up so much time. Because I find that when I have a lot of exams coming up or something, and I'm reading my textbooks and all my notes, I don't want to go home and read. I just want to go home and watch YouTube. So if I'm listening to audiobooks, if I'm listening to them as I'm going to school, or as I'm sometimes taking a break from studying, then I feel like that's the best way to keep going with your reading. And that way you don't have to kind of stop for long periods of time, so it's easier to get back into it. And then when you do have more free time, then you're already in the habit, so you don't have to, you're not faced with some of the other reasons for reading slumps. So another more strict way, if you're just finding that nothing's working and that you need something that's more evidence-based, I would recommend using this term positive reinforcement, or this concept called positive reinforcement. With positive reinforcement, you're reinforcing your reading behavior through some sort of reinforcer. So that could be if you get coffee every day, you can make it so that if you read for an hour, if you read 100 pages, then you can drink your coffee the next morning. Or if, once a week you like to go to Starbucks or something, or you like to go out to eat, you could tell yourself that if you read for a certain amount of time or a certain number of pages, then you can have that treat. You could also say if I read for this amount of time, then I can watch YouTube or Netflix for this amount of time. So that sort of puts you on more of a schedule, and then after a while, you'll kind of be habituated to it or conditioned to it, so that you don't have to be so strict, but you've gotten back in the habit of reading. So my personal solution for how I get out of reading slumps is by reading a Sarah Dessen book, which are all right behind me, right here. So I have like almost all of her books. I think I'm missing the most recent one and then like 2 or 3 others. But for the most part, I have them all because whenever I get into reading slumps, they always get me out of it every single time. Because they're very consistent and they always put me in a good mood. I know what I'm going to get out of it. I know that they're always going to have a happy ending and a satisfying conclusion. And I know that I'm going to read them and I'm going to get a sweet love story, a satisfying family dynamic, or the family conflict will always be resolved, and I'm going to get character development from the protagonist. So it's consistent, they're very easy to read. You can the way that they're written, they kind of flow very naturally, and they all take place within like a time span of a couple months usually, so it's easy to follow, and that's just my personal solution, and it works every time for me. So those are some ways to get out of a reading slump. So hopefully those will help anyone who's in a reading slump right now or in the future. And yeah, so don't forget to like this video if you liked it, and comment if you agree with me, or if you disagree with me, that's okay too. And subscribe if you want. And so thanks for watching. Bye.